Thank you for tuning in to Koppen with Comic. I'm Brian Koppen, and we're here with comic Claire Alexander. Claire Alexander, how the hell are you?
I'm good. How are you, Brian?
Oh, good. If people want to find you, do stand up in New York City, where do they do that? And also, if people are not lucky enough to live in the area, where can they find you online?
Well, online, I have a website called clairebearpears.com.
Yeah, I love that.
And
Is there more than one Claire Alexander?
Um,
Is there a lesser, less funny Claire Alexander out there who has Claire Alexander?
Not alive. There was a famous male hockey player
Oh, my Lord.
named Claire Alexander,
Oh,
which,
gosh.
yeah, I was named. I'm kidding.
You were named after. I was named after him. My parents loved hockey.
No, they. That is not the case. But that was a really disappointing thing to find when I first Googled myself.
Yeah.
Famous man, and I was like, oh well.
Well, you'll make it famous for female comics. And where can people see you in New York City?
So on January 21st, I'm doing a show at the V Spot.
Oh, cool.
And January 23rd at January 21st is at 8:30 p.m. By the way.
Where is the V Spot?
It's near St. Mark's Place.
Oh, okay.
I think it's on St. Mark's Place.
Oh, so that's easy to find.
And yeah, it's a great spot. Great hosts. Jan 23rd, I'm doing a show at 8 p.m. at Whispers. Again, awesome hosts.
And where is Whispers?
Am
I testing you?
Yeah.
The location will, of course, be on your website. Is it clairealexander.com?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. You were able to get that. The dead guy didn't get clairealexander.com.
Or no, clairebearpears.com. I'm sorry.
Okay, cool.
clairebearpears.com.
Okay. So across kind of all social, you're Claire Bear Pears.
Yeah,
okay.
I changed that. It used to be other stuff, but I was like, I'm just going to keep this one for myself.
Yeah, it's good to get them uniform. And then when you're not doing comedy, your day job's pretty interesting. Are you doing restaurants? Are you in the hospitality industry?
So I'm a waitress.
Okay. And you like that. Like you were fine talking about that today.
Yeah, I love it. It
just fits with your personality. And are you able to kind of work comedy into it or get stories from it to inform your act?
Well, a little bit of both. I know a lot of comics don't like to talk about their day job, but I think mine is just like so funny. Because not particularly the customers I have even, but it's just like the whole concept of the restaurant industry is just the way it works to me is hilarious because like the people I work with, I've worked other jobs previously where I sit in an office and you have Barbara who's like, gonna have a baby shower next week and it's not like that in a restaurant. In a restaurant,
nobody cares, right?
Yeah, you get in, like you know who you like and you know who you don't like, and you don't mess with people that you don't like.
That's so funny. So there's no baby shower for Jimmy in the kitchen.
No, it's like everybody has a second job, and
right.
it's very. It's really awesome to work in a restaurant in New York City because everybody is a part of the grind wholeheartedly.
So everybody's either an actor or a comic or a writer or whatever.
I mean, I'm the only comic at my restaurant, and actually, like we only have like one actor at my restaurant, but everybody else has like, I have a friend who has who's in a band. Everybody else they just have a lot going on with their lives, so it's like everybody has a second job or something.
So it must be interesting to kind of talk to people while you work there.
Yeah.
And are you able to kind of write on the job too, though? I mean, your brain isn't maybe totally occupied, so you can also think of a couple funny bits.
Yeah, that's what I like about it is that it's not like using all my creativity. I just kind of have my like robot. Hi, what can I get for you?
She's not robotic though. The tips. I mean, she's gonna get the tips because she genuinely cares. How are you doing? What can I get you? Like she's not. I mean, you're not being robotic. You're being perfectly sincere. It's just that you have such a big brain that you can also think of comedy bits while you're saying that.
Yeah.
You have background processes running.
For sure, I feel that way. Like I've worked in It's nice to I one time I worked at a really big department store, and when I was in college, like in between semesters, and I was just like I just didn't care about the place. And when you work in a restaurant, because you have you keep seeing these customers, even if not regulars, just even first timers, you just see them like 4 times. You talk to them like 4 or 5 times,
right.
and you feel for them. Like, I want you to have maple syrup with your French toast. Like
I've been in that position too. I also want maple syrup.
Yeah, I'm like, I want you to have a good experience, and it's not like, oh yeah, I don't care if your shirt shrunk in the washing machine because I don't know you. It's more like, I hope that you have in it and especially because my restaurant has excellent food. I have no problem selling it because I'm like, this is great and I want to see someone enjoy it.
Yeah. And are you like that with comedy? I mean, is your aim in a comedy set to make sure they leave better, in a better mood than they were before?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I love to make people laugh. I think that's why I also like being a server. Like, I just like to make people happy. But I definitely do that with comedy. I hope that people come in and then I make them happier and make them think about things that they didn't think before.
And what are some of the things you're talking about on stage that are not only funny but kind of memorable as far as insight you might have on certain things?
I don't know about insight. I do have one bit that I wrote like a couple months ago that has been it's probably my favorite bit I've ever written thus far. It's about like my dad, and I mean, there's no like awesome moral to it. It's just humorous. My dad had a nickname in college. His friends used to call him Geppetto.
Really?
Yeah, because he like looked like the puppeteer Geppetto.
Oh, okay.
But Geppetto, even in the joke, I say it's such a mouthful. They just called him Pedo, and that's yeah.
Did they really?
That's a true story. He had a license plate on the front of his car until I was about 11 years old. This man picked me up from school with a license plate on it. It said PETTO, so it wasn't like creepy, but like.
But that's even something where I wouldn't even believe it if you said it. Like, there's certain things in your life that you try to bring on stage because they're true. And you're like, this is actually true, people. I need you to believe this is true, because nobody will believe that anybody ever put that on the license plate to pick up their kids. And I know it's spelled differently, but he's just so far away from an actual pedophile that he felt comfortable putting PETTO, and he'd be able to say, hey, I was in Pinocchio.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is how I got it. Oh my gosh, do you ever, I mean, do people come up to you after that good comedy bit saying, is that true?
Yeah.
Like, that can't be true.
Well, I mean, I've gotten that about like every bit I've ever done, because I used to like have bits about, I used to live in Connecticut, and I used to drive everywhere, and I don't really drive to do sets anymore unless like I'm going out for a road gig or something. But I used to have this bit about how I have a Prius, and then people would see me after the show and be like, wow, you really have a Prius.
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't make it up.
Yeah, and so what's the role of being like, do you try to be authentic on stage? I mean, do you try to make sure that every premise of your set is rooted in truth?
Most of the time. For like a premise, definitely most of the time it comes from the truth. For just a bit or a joke, I mean, it's not.
But then you're going to spin it out into certain things that might not be as true.
Yeah.
But at least we know that you drove the Prius and your dad actually had that on his license plate.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. And then, like, why do you do that? Because then nobody can steal your stuff. I mean, if you're uniquely Claire, then nobody else can tell a Claire bit without people knowing, hey, no, that's Claire Bear Pears. Like, CBP. What are some of the benefits to making sure all your stuff is authentic CBP?
Well, I think I don't even do it so that like people won't take it or anything. I think it's like when you meet somebody and they tell you something that is just like outlandish, there's this, I feel like we're all such individual different people who grew up in such funky, weird way. Like my whole life, I didn't really watch TV growing up, and I totally missed out on SpongeBob. And everybody I know, either, right? Oh, nice.
Yeah, I try to avoid the things that are super popular. Yeah.
Good hipster.
Yeah, but so I mean, it's just more fascinating to tell people things that are uniquely CBP, Claire Bear Pears.
Yeah, yeah, and like. I don't know. I find it so people are like, that's crazy. Like, what did you do with your life? And I'm like, oh, I used to run in my backyard. And that's funny to say. Like,
you ran in your backyard? Was your backyard that big, or did you just run that short of a distance?
Well, I mean, my brother and I, we used to like run around and like sing one song. This is true. We used to like run around and like hold hands, and we did this like more than one time. This is what happens when your kids don't watch TV. We'd run around and hold hands, and we'd say, I owe you a barbecue. And we did that for hours.
That is hilarious. Like, that's pretty much how SpongeBob SquarePants, I mean, doesn't it get absurd like that? And so if you don't let your kids watch all that TV, they're going to come up with something just unique and just unique and memorable. That's hilarious. Was your yard big? I mean, you just ran around because you were like used to run around your yard.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I was really lucky to I grew up in like a nice place in Connecticut.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so we had a big yard. We had like a playground in it. We had Like it was awesome.
But then you ended up really being fascinated with New York City, and that's why you moved here. You like the subway.
Oh
You like
yeah.
all that stuff. And so, like, how did you go from, an idyllic a childhood, or at least seemingly idyllic childhood in Connecticut with yards to run in, to New York City? Like, how did your fascination grow, and how are you making sure you're kind of living it to its fullest right now?
Oh, well, that's a great question. I've actually wanted to live in New York City ever since I was a little girl. I used to like write stories about it, and
Oh,
yeah, I like my brother and I. Here's another game we would play. We just would pretend we lived in a hotel in New York City, and
oh, cool.
I made a website for it when I was a kid.
Oh
and
my gosh,
everything.
you can do
Yeah.
that. That's so cool. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like it's about as cool as the IOU of barbecue. Like, so Hotel New York City was probably called.
Yeah, that was like the theme song for the hotel, I guess. But yeah, so I always wanted to live in the city, but I mean, I definitely still I enjoyed my childhood in the suburbs, and I know a lot of people who grow up in the suburbs end up living in the city.
Yeah.
But I've always just like, because I also studied like theater my whole life and whatnot, so I've just always seen New York City as like the place I want to live.
And are you incorporating those theatrics into your act? I mean, do you do a lot of act outs? I mean, if we were to come see your show, is it always Claire Alexander, or is she doing some theatrical act outs?
Oh, I'm definitely theatrical. I think
cool.
I mean, I got into stand up through acting because I ended up not accidentally. I just part of my curriculum at an acting school I went to. I had to do it, but it definitely, I think I was a step ahead of a lot of people who like just have never tried comedy and they want to,
Right.
because I'm already like super comfortable on stage.
Oh,
like
good.
I've always been ever since I was like 8 years old.
So that's kind of part of the battle. And so if they
Yeah.
want to see you, they have there's the V Spot coming up. That's one of your shows.
Yes.
And when is that? January.
That's January 21st.
Okay, and the other one was at Whispers, which they'll find on
Yes.
ClaireBearPairs.com
Yes.
and all the Claire Bear Pairs social media.
You got it.
Okay. And then are you going to sing I Owe You a Barbecue to take us out?
Yeah, man.
I owe you a
barbecue.
Thank you so much, Claire Alexander.
Thank you.